everyone, it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be using some Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers as well as some Starry Colors Gansai Tombi paints with some of the brand new Neat Tangled July release products. I'm going to be using the Succulent stamp set today, and I'm going to be creating this beautiful Sending Prayers card. I've got my stamp mounted into my Misty stamping tool. I'm going to be stamping this onto some watercolor paper. This is Strathmore watercolor paper. It's Bristol Smooth. I really like this for watercoloring. I also tend to use the Canson XL watercolor paper. Both of them are very inexpensive and perfect for practicing your watercoloring as well as using them for on your cards. So I'm going to stamp my image onto my watercolor paper with some Simon Says Stamp Clear embossing ink. However, first I want to prep the surface with my EK Success powder tool. That'll just cut down on any static cling. I've put some clear embossing powder over top of the image that I've stamped down, and now I'm going to go ahead and heat set this with my heat gun. This is the Wagner heat gun. After that was heat set, I started my watercoloring. I decided first to use a lighter pink, but I decided that was going to be too light for the color tone that I wanted. So I switched to a darker pink, which you can see me going back over top of the lighter color here. I'm blending it out with my paintbrush. I'm applying the darkest color where the petals meet each other, and then blending it out towards the tip. That's just going to give this a little bit more dimension. I'm using a silver black velvet round number 2 brush for my painting. However, you can use any paintbrush that you prefer. This is just the one I grabbed out of my jar. I'm going to keep adding the color until I have all the petals colored in on this particular flower. These succulents are really beautiful, and I love how big they are. They're perfect for coloring in with both Copics, colored pencils, watercolors, any type of medium you prefer. This is a really great image to practice coloring flowers on. Because of that larger size, it gives you some extra room for practicing. Really great stamp. I'm just going to keep darkening up some of the petals that I think needed to be a little bit darker, and I'll just fiddle with things until I have this flower completely colored in. For the other flower, I started off with a base of an orangey yellow color tone because I wanted this one to have a peachy pink color. Now, you could use a peachy pink marker. I think there is one in the Zig Clean color markers. However, I liked the results of this particular color combination better, so this is why I'm going ahead and doing it this way. I'm adding some darker shading with that same marker, and now I'm going to go ahead and bring in my pink marker. So I'm putting the pink along the darkest areas of the petals where the petals are meeting each other, again, just like I did on the bigger pink flower. I'm just going to keep doing this until I have all the petals colored in. You can see I also colored in the background with a green color. I decided I did not like that. I wanted it to be more yellow to match the flowers better. So you'll see me cover that up in just a minute here. Here I'm bringing in that yellow color. It's the same yellow that I used on the second flower. Just blending this out with my brush, and I'm also dabbing up some of the color with my paper towel. So now I want to add some shimmery color over top of these petals. I want these to be super sparkly and beautiful. And I'm using the Gansai Tombi Starry Colors palette. This is the gold palette that comes with 6 different gold colors. I'm using the white gold here because it's pretty translucent, and I'm just using a light wash of this over top of each petal. I'm not moving it too much because I don't want to mess up the color underneath that we applied with the Zig Clean color markers because they do react with water. So I'm just being careful not to blend things too much, just quickly applying a light color over top, and I'm making sure that I don't use a lot of paint either because I don't want the color to become cloudy underneath. Now I also want to color in the banner, so I'm just using a light gray marker and adding some darker shadowing along the edges just to give it a little bit extra dimension, but I'm not going too crazy with this one. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. You could use the die and it cuts out around this particular frame. However, I wanted it to be cut up right close to the edge. So I'm taking my scissors and just cutting around this piece of paper. That way I can have no white borders showing. The only white border is going to be the embossed border that is around the flowers. Now I also want to stamp my sentiment. I'm using one of the sentiment stamps that's included in the Succulent stamp set. I'm going to ink this up with that same Simon Says Stamp Clear ink that I used to stamp the flowers. And I'm just going to go ahead and press that down right into the center of the banner. And again, I prepped this with my powder tool as well. For the embossing powder, I'm going to be using the Hero Arts Platinum Embossing Powder. This is a really gorgeous silvery gold color tone. I really love this one. So I'll just go ahead and apply that over top, and then I'll heat set that. For the card base, I'm using one of the brand new stencils from Neat Tangled. These are going to be available in the July release. I'm just using some walnut stain ink over top of some Nina Desert Storm cardstock. Just doing a very light coat around all of the areas of the stencil so that way I can cover this card base with this beautiful pattern. I thought this matched really well with the color combination of the flowers. So you can see I removed the stencil here and the gorgeous pattern that you get from that inking. I also wanted to add a little bit more extra natural touch to this because the image, of course, that we're putting on top is a flower, so I want to have that natural feel to this card base. So I'm taking some water, and of course this is cardstock, so this is not going to take the water very well. However, if you don't use it a lot, you will be able to get some cool effects. So I'm just very carefully applying some water splatters on top of this cardstock. And again, I'm not putting a lot on here because I don't want to oversaturate this paper. I'll go ahead and dry that with my heat gun. You can see the gorgeous water splatters we have now over top of this. And I'm taking some more of that walnut stain ink along with a distress splatter brush, and I'm just splattering that across the card panel. This is going to give it a more natural feel, and I love the look of splatters with flowers. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and round the corners of this card base using my corner rounder tool. This is just a corner rounder from Fiskars. And then I'll go ahead and mount my card panel onto a piece of white cardstock and then onto the card base. So I hope you've enjoyed and got some inspiration on using Neat and Tangled products along with some Zig Cling color markers and Starry Colors watercolor set. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and head on over to my blog where you can get more information on this card, including still pictures, products used, and a giveaway. If you enjoyed this video, here's another one you might like featuring Neat and Tangled exclusive products. Please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can find me on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, as well as my blog. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.